Have you ever wondered why some people seem to rise to the top while others, despite working just as hard, stay stuck in the shadows? What is it that truly drives success in this world? Is it hard work, fairness, or something deeper, something that most of us don't even realize? In today's video, we're going to uncover the shocking truth about success. And let me tell you, it's not what you think. The world we live in doesn't care about your efforts. It cares about who has the power to adapt, the influence to change the game, and the will to push beyond the limits. We'll explore the dark side of success, the sacrifices people make, and why fairness is often the last thing that matters. If you're ready to challenge everything you thought you knew about success, stick around, because what you're about to hear could completely change how you view the world. But first, if you're excited to dive deep into this topic, make sure to hit that like button, share this video with anyone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss out on content that can help you think differently and level up. And if you really love the video, consider supporting the channel with a super thanks. It means the world to us. Let's get started. The truth about success is more uncomfortable than you think. Success is a concept that many people misunderstand. We are often told that if we work hard, play by the rules, and treat others with kindness, we will be rewarded. However, the reality of success is far harsher than most people are willing to accept. The world does not operate on fairness or ethics. It is governed by power, influence, and the ability to adapt. The most successful individuals, the top 1%, do not achieve their status by following conventional rules. Instead, they create their own rules and shape the systems to benefit them. From an evolutionary perspective, life has always been a competition. Charles Darwin's theory of natural selection states that only those best adapted to their environments will survive and thrive. This principle applies not just in nature but in every aspect of human society. Those who understand and embrace this truth rise to power, while those who cling to comforting illusions are left behind. The business world, politics, and social hierarchies all function under the same fundamental rule: dominate or be dominated. The most powerful individuals in history did not wait for opportunities, they seized them. Julius Caesar did not rise to power by waiting for the Roman Senate's approval. He took control through military strategy and political cunning. Steve Jobs did not create Apple by following conventional corporate structures. He demanded perfection, took ruthless business decisions, and forced innovation. Elon Musk is not leading multiple industries by playing it safe. He takes massive risks, pushes boundaries, and disregards traditional thinking. These individuals did not conform to the rules set by society. They reshaped society to fit their vision. The idea that hard work alone guarantees success is a comforting but misleading belief. Millions of people work hard every day, yet they struggle to make ends meet. Hard work is necessary but not sufficient. Those who reach the top understand that success requires strategy, adaptability, and a willingness to do what others won't. They recognize that competition is constant and that only those who are relentless in their pursuit will come out on top. Consider the world of business. Companies do not succeed by being kind to their competitors. They succeed by outmaneuvering them, acquiring their resources, and sometimes eliminating them entirely. Look at how Amazon dominated the retail industry. It didn't just offer better products, it leveraged technology, cut prices aggressively, and expanded its influence until competitors had no choice but to close their doors. Blockbuster, once a giant in the entertainment industry, failed because it did not adapt to the rise of digital streaming. Meanwhile, Netflix evolved, adapted, and ultimately took over. Power is not something that is given, it is taken. The wealthiest and most powerful individuals do not wait for permission to succeed. They impose their will on the world. They understand that the masses are conditioned to believe in fairness and morality. But in reality, those who control the game set the rules. History has repeatedly shown that the most influential figures did not achieve greatness by waiting their turn. They created their own paths, often at the expense of others. The same principles apply to personal success. In competitive environments, whether in corporate boardrooms, politics, or entertainment, the ones who rise to the top are those who are willing to go further than their peers. They make difficult decisions without hesitation. They take risks others are afraid of. They do not let emotions cloud their judgment. While others hesitate, they act. This is not to say that being unethical is the only way to succeed. Many successful individuals operate within legal and moral boundaries, but they do so with a deep understanding of how the world truly works. They know that kindness and fairness are tools to be used strategically, not principles that guarantee success. The top 1% use influence, leverage, and positioning to ensure that they remain in control. They do not rely on luck or external validation, they create their own fortunes. A key element of success is adaptability. The world is constantly changing, and those who fail to evolve become obsolete. Nokia was once the leader in mobile phones but failed to adapt to the smartphone revolution. Kodak invented digital photography but refused to embrace it, leading to its downfall. Meanwhile, companies like Apple and Tesla continue to innovate and stay ahead of the competition. The most successful individuals and organizations do not cling to past successes, they anticipate changes and position themselves to capitalize on them. Influence is another critical factor. Money alone does not grant true power. Control over perception does. The most powerful people in the world understand the psychology of influence. They shape narratives, control information, and use media to reinforce their position. Politicians, business moguls, and entertainment icons all use influence to maintain their dominance. Social media has amplified this effect, allowing individuals to craft their own public personas and gain massive followings. The ability to persuade and control public opinion is one of the most valuable skills in today's world. Discipline is what separates those who succeed from those who merely dream. The most successful individuals have an unshakable commitment to their vision. They do not let distractions, emotions, or temporary setbacks derail them. They show up every day, execute their plans with precision, and maintain consistency over years, even decades. This level of discipline is what turns potential into reality. Kobe Bryant, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, was known for his relentless work ethic. He would practice for hours before his teammates arrived and continue long after they left. His dedication to improving every aspect of his game made him a legend. This kind of discipline is rare, but it is what separates the elite from the average. The hard truth is that most people give up at the first sign of hardship. They seek comfort, avoid discomfort, and make excuses. The top 1% do the opposite. They embrace difficulty, push through pain, and use every setback as fuel to propel themselves forward. They understand that suffering is a rite of passage and that true greatness is forged through relentless perseverance. Ultimately, the world rewards those who understand its brutal truths. Whether in business, politics, or personal ambition, the principles of success remain the same. It is not about fairness, morality, or waiting for opportunities. It is about seizing control, adapting to change, mastering influence, and maintaining unwavering discipline. Those who embrace this reality thrive. Those who deny it are left behind. Darwin's theory of natural selection states that only those best adapted to their environments will survive and thrive. This principle is not confined to the natural world. It governs every aspect of human civilization, from economics to politics to social dynamics. In a world where competition is relentless, those who refuse to adapt or who cling to outdated ways of thinking are inevitably left behind. The most successful individuals are those who recognize the brutal realities of survival and use them to their advantage. Economic history is filled with examples of individuals and corporations that thrived because they understood this fundamental truth. One of the most famous examples is John D. Rockefeller, the founder of Standard Oil and one of the wealthiest men in history. Rockefeller didn't become the king of the oil industry by playing fair. He dominated the market through aggressive expansion, strategic acquisitions, and ruthless business tactics. When competitors refused to sell, he found ways to undercut their prices until they had no choice but to surrender. He manipulated railroads to secure cheaper transportation costs, giving him an edge over his rivals. By the time the government finally intervened to break up Standard Oil, Rockefeller had already cemented his place as one of the most powerful figures in the business world. The same pattern repeats itself in every industry. Companies that fail to evolve inevitably perish, while those that embrace change and seize opportunities rise to the top. Blockbuster was once the undisputed leader in home entertainment, with thousands of stores across the United States. Yet, when Netflix introduced the concept of streaming, Blockbuster dismissed it as a passing trend. Instead of adapting, they doubled down on their outdated business model. Netflix, on the other hand, continuously evolved, moving from DVD rentals to streaming, then into original content production. Today, Netflix is a global powerhouse, while Blockbuster is a relic of the past. Amazon's rise to dominance followed a similar trajectory. In its early days, Amazon was just an online bookstore. However, Jeff Bezos understood that the internet was rapidly changing the retail landscape. He didn't just settle for selling books, he expanded into electronics, clothing, and eventually everything imaginable. More importantly, he recognized the power of logistics and invested heavily in building a vast distribution network that allowed Amazon to deliver products faster and cheaper than traditional retailers. While companies like Sears and Toys R Us struggled to adapt, Amazon systematically dismantled their market share. Today, Amazon is one of the most valuable companies in the world, not because it had the best products, but because it had the best strategy. Adaptability isn't just about companies, it's about individuals as well. The entertainment industry is a perfect example of how those who evolve remain relevant while those who don't fade into obscurity. Consider the careers of two actors, Leonardo DiCaprio and Brendan Fraser. Both were major stars in the late 1990s and early 2000s. But their paths diverged dramatically. DiCaprio continuously reinvented himself, choosing roles that challenged him and working with some of the best directors in Hollywood. He didn't allow himself to be typecast, which is why he has remained one of the most bankable actors for decades. Fraser, on the other hand, struggled to transition beyond his early action hero roles. Without reinvention, his career declined, while DiCaprio's soared. The music industry offers another compelling case study. Artists who evolve with the times maintain their relevance, while those who resist change are left behind. Look at Taylor Swift. She started as a country singer but quickly adapted to the pop landscape when she saw the shift in audience preferences. She reinvented her sound multiple times, ensuring that she stayed ahead of the trends. Compare that to artists who refused to adapt. Many who dominated the charts in one era have disappeared entirely from public consciousness. Politics follows the same brutal logic. Leaders who fail to adapt to shifting social and economic landscapes are quickly replaced. In the early 20th century, Winston Churchill was a controversial figure who found himself on the outskirts of political power. But when World War II broke out, he recognized the need for a leader with his level of resilience and strategic thinking. He adapted to the moment, became prime minister, and led Britain through one of its darkest hours. His ability to rise to the occasion made him an icon, proving once again that those who adapt to the demands of their time shape history. Technology is another area where adaptability determines survival. Companies like Kodak, which once dominated the photography industry, failed to see the potential of digital cameras. Despite inventing the digital camera, Kodak clung to film, believing that it would always be in demand. Meanwhile, companies like Canon and Sony embraced the digital revolution. Today, Kodak is a shell of its former self, while those who adapted control the market. The lesson is clear. Refusing to evolve is a death sentence. This principle applies to personal development as well. The people who rise to the top in their fields are not necessarily the smartest or most talented. They're the ones who are most adaptable. Athletes who fail to adjust their training techniques or dietary habits as they age find themselves outperformed by younger competitors. Businesses that ignore market trends quickly become irrelevant. Employees who don't upgrade their skills are replaced by those who do. The world does not reward stagnation, it punishes it. The ability to pivot when necessary is a trait shared by the world's most successful individuals. Elon Musk, for example, didn't confine himself to a single industry. He built PayPal, then moved into electric vehicles with Tesla, then space exploration with SpaceX, and now artificial intelligence and brain-computer interfaces with Neuralink. His willingness to dive into unfamiliar industries and master new challenges is what sets him apart from those who remain trapped in their comfort zones. Success is not just about working hard, it's about working smart and being willing to evolve. People often wonder why some individuals rise to the top while others with similar skills and intelligence remain stuck in mediocrity. The answer lies in adaptability. The most successful people don't resist change, they anticipate it. They prepare for shifts before they happen. They study trends, observe market movements, and position themselves to take advantage of opportunities that others don't see. Another key aspect of adaptability is the ability to recognize when a strategy is no longer working and pivot accordingly. Many people fail not because they lack effort, but because they refuse to abandon outdated approaches. Businesses that stubbornly cling to failing models go bankrupt. Individuals who refuse to update their skill sets become obsolete in the job market. Relationships that don't evolve eventually break down. The ability to change course when necessary is a skill that separates winners from losers. Perhaps the most striking example of this can be seen in the global economy. The COVID-19 pandemic forced businesses and individuals alike to adapt almost overnight. Companies that had relied solely on in-person sales were forced to shift to digital platforms. Restaurants had to develop takeout and delivery options. Office workers had to transition to remote work. Those who resisted these changes suffered massive losses, while those who adapted quickly not only survived but thrived. The pandemic was a stark reminder that survival belongs to those who can pivot and adjust to new realities. At its core, the principle of evolution applies to every aspect of life. Whether in business, politics, entertainment, or personal growth, the ability to adapt is the most critical factor in long-term success. The world is constantly changing, and those who fail to change with it are left behind. The most successful people understand this. They don't fear change, they embrace it. They see challenges as opportunities. They are not attached to old ways of doing things. They are always looking for better, more efficient methods. The harsh truth is that no one is entitled to success. Just because someone was successful in the past doesn't mean they will continue to be. Just because a company dominated an industry for decades doesn't mean it is invincible. Just because a politician once held power doesn't mean they will remain relevant. The world moves forward whether we are ready or not, and only those who adapt will continue to thrive. In society, we are taught from a young age that fairness is the foundation of success. We're told that if we work hard, treat others kindly, and follow the rules, we will be rewarded. This idea of fairness creates a comforting narrative for most people, giving them the illusion that success is accessible to everyone equally. However, when we look at history, business, and politics, it becomes clear that the world does not operate on the principles of fairness, but rather on the reality of power and influence. Success is not determined by kindness, morality, or playing by the rules. It is driven by the ability to dominate, control, and manipulate the systems around you. Take a moment to think about the most successful people in history: leaders, conquerors, business moguls, and even modern tech billionaires. Were they rewarded for their kindness, generosity, or fairness? Or did they rise to the top through strategic thinking, manipulation of power, and, in many cases, ruthless decision-making? It's the latter. In reality, the world's great empires were not built on fairness or ethics. They were built on the strategic use of power. Consider Julius Caesar, one of the most famous leaders in history. He didn't wait for the approval of the Roman Senate to act. In fact, he didn't wait for anyone's permission. Caesar understood that to achieve power, one must take it. He could not afford to sit idly by and hope for a fair opportunity. When the Senate became a barrier to his ambition, he crossed the Rubicon and marched his army into Rome, declaring that he would not abide by the existing system. He didn't just play the political game, he reshaped the game itself, setting the stage for the eventual fall of the Roman Republic and the rise of the Roman Empire under his rule. Caesar's story is a perfect example of how power dynamics work. He didn't wait for a fair process to allow him to lead. He created his own path. He knew that fairness would not get him the power he sought. Instead, he took what he wanted, using his strategic mind, charisma, and the military might at his disposal. His story serves as a reminder that in the world of power, those who wait for permission often miss the opportunity entirely. The truly powerful take charge, bending the system to fit their desires. When we look at the rise of empires and businesses throughout history, the same principle holds true. Power is not something that is granted, it must be seized. The British Empire, for example, didn't gain its dominance by being kind or fair to the nations it colonized. It built its empire through conquest, exploitation, and strategic control. Leaders like Queen Victoria and figures like Winston Churchill did not acquire their influence by working within a system of fairness. They expanded Britain's power through force, manipulation, and strategic alliances that were often ruthless and uncompromising. The idea of fairness did not factor into their decision-making. The British Empire expanded at the expense of millions of lives, with the goal of consolidating power and wealth for the few. In the business world, the same harsh reality applies. When we think of modern corporate giants, many of the most successful figures didn't rise to the top by adhering to fairness. Instead, they manipulated the system, outmaneuvered their competition, and used their influence to create monopolies. Take the example of John D. Rockefeller, the founder of Standard Oil. Rockefeller built his empire by aggressively controlling the oil industry, often using underhanded tactics to eliminate competition. He didn't wait for the market to offer him opportunities. Instead, he created those opportunities by manipulating the system to his advantage, buying out competitors, and setting prices that made it nearly impossible for smaller companies to survive. His rise was not based on fairness, it was based on the strategic use of power. Another example is Amazon's founder, Jeff Bezos. Bezos didn't build Amazon by waiting for fairness in the retail industry. He understood that the traditional brick-and-mortar stores were ill-prepared for the rise of e-commerce. While established retail giants like Walmart and Sears resisted the shift to online shopping, Bezos embraced it. He understood that the future of retail would not be determined by traditional methods of selling goods, but by technology, convenience, and the ability to dominate the online marketplace. By the time traditional retailers realized the impact of e-commerce, Amazon was already miles ahead. Bezos did not wait for fairness or for competitors to acknowledge his success. He created his own opportunity, using strategic advantages like fast shipping, customer loyalty, and a vast online inventory to dominate the market. These examples underscore the reality that success in the modern world, whether in politics, business, or beyond, is not about fairness. Fairness is a convenient narrative that helps people sleep at night, but it is not a guiding principle for those who truly control power. Those who hold power don't wait for the system to reward them. They don't play by the rules because they know the rules are designed to keep the powerful in check. Instead, they create their own rules, bend systems to their will, and manipulate circumstances to ensure that they come out on top. It is crucial to understand that the world doesn't reward effort alone. It doesn't matter how hard someone works or how much they contribute if they don't have the strategic mind and power to ensure their success. For instance, while many hard-working people are laboring in various industries, they often remain invisible and underpaid because they are not in control of the systems that determine their rewards. On the other hand, individuals who wield power and influence often achieve success not because they worked harder but because they were able to leverage their position and take advantage of the system. This doesn't mean that kindness or fairness have no place in life. They absolutely do, and they can make our world a better, more humane place. But when it comes to achieving success, especially on a global scale, fairness often takes a backseat to power. People and organizations that rise to the top are the ones who understand that the world operates according to power dynamics. They understand that the rules are not fixed, they can be bent, altered, or even broken to suit one's goals. Furthermore, it's important to recognize that fairness, in the way it is typically defined by society, is often an illusion. What is deemed fair or just is subjective and can change depending on who is in power. Laws, regulations, and systems are often created to maintain the status quo, which benefits those who are already at the top. The powerful make the rules, and they have the means to manipulate or ignore those rules when it suits their purposes. In many cases, fairness is simply a tool used to placate the masses and prevent them from questioning the systems of power that keep the elite in control. The idea of fairness is also tied to the myth that success is based solely on hard work. While hard work is certainly important, it is not enough on its own to guarantee success. As we've seen with the examples of Caesar, Rockefeller, and Bezos, it's not just about putting in the hours, it's about understanding the dynamics of power and how to wield it effectively. Hard work, combined with the strategic use of power, is what leads to true success. To illustrate this, consider the role of networking in success. Many people work hard in their fields, putting in long hours and honing their skills. But those who succeed often do so not just because they're the most talented or hardworking, but because they have the right connections. In many industries, success depends on who you know, not just what you know. This is a direct reflection of the power dynamics at play. Those with the right connections, who can leverage their influence, are often the ones who rise to the top, even if they are not the most qualified or the hardest working. This reinforces the idea that success is not just about fairness, it's about understanding how to navigate power structures and use them to your advantage. In conclusion, the reality of power is far different from the illusion of fairness that society often promotes. While fairness may sound like a noble ideal, it is not the driving force behind success. Power, influence, and the ability to control systems are what determine who rises to the top and who gets left behind. Those who understand this truth are the ones who succeed. They don't wait for permission, they take what they want and reshape the systems around them to fit their desires. In the world of power, fairness is not the rule, it is the exception. In today's rapidly changing world, success is no longer determined solely by talent, hard work, or luck. The individuals who rise to the top, whether in business, politics, or any other field, share one common trait: ruthless adaptability. The most successful people understand that evolution is a constant, and they embrace change rather than resist it. They are not afraid to evolve with the times, to adapt to new technologies, and to reinvent themselves when necessary. The ability to adapt is not just about surviving, it's about thriving in an ever-shifting environment. Take the rise and fall of Blockbuster and Netflix as a prime example of how adaptability shapes success. Blockbuster, once the giant of the home movie rental industry, failed to evolve with the changing times. At its peak, Blockbuster had thousands of stores worldwide, and it was the go-to place for anyone wanting to rent a movie. But as the internet began to change the way people consumed entertainment, Blockbuster stuck to its brick-and-mortar model. Despite warnings from market trends and experts, it refused to embrace the digital transformation that was sweeping across industries. In contrast, Netflix, which started as a DVD rental service by mail, understood that the future of entertainment was streaming. Instead of clinging to the traditional business model, Netflix took the risk of investing in digital technology and content creation. The company was willing to disrupt the very industry it was part of by abandoning the physical store and embracing an online subscription model. This was a bold move, especially considering that in the early days of streaming, the technology was still evolving and the internet infrastructure was not as reliable as it is today. But Netflix's willingness to embrace change allowed it to become the dominant player in the entertainment industry. While Blockbuster, unable to adapt, faded into irrelevance, the contrast between Netflix and Blockbuster is a perfect example of how adaptability drives success. While Blockbuster continued to rely on a business model that had worked for decades, Netflix understood that in the digital age, the way people consumed movies and TV shows had fundamentally changed. Netflix's willingness to adapt to these changes, and even to shape them, allowed it to seize control of an entire industry. Blockbuster, on the other hand, was unwilling to let go of its past and ultimately paid the price for its failure to adapt. A similar story can be seen in the battle between Amazon and traditional brick-and-mortar retailers. Amazon began as an online bookstore, but Jeff Bezos quickly realized that the future of retail was not in physical stores. Instead of sticking to one niche, Amazon aggressively expanded its product offerings, eventually becoming the go-to platform for everything from electronics to household goods. This rapid expansion was possible because Bezos understood that the key to success in the modern retail landscape was adaptability and scale. Amazon didn't just sell products, it built an entire ecosystem that included logistics, cloud computing, and artificial intelligence, all of which gave it a competitive edge over traditional retailers. Traditional retailers like Sears, Toys R Us, and even Walmart struggled to keep up with Amazon's relentless growth. While these companies had decades of experience and established customer bases, they failed to embrace the online shopping revolution in the same way Amazon did. Sears, once the largest retailer in the world, clung to its outdated model of big box stores and catalogs, refusing to embrace e-commerce until it was too late. Toys R Us, similarly, did not invest in online sales early enough and watched as Amazon took over the toy industry. Walmart, while still a major player, has struggled to catch up with Amazon in the online space despite its efforts to expand its e-commerce presence. Amazon's dominance is a testament to the power of adaptability. The company was able to anticipate shifts in consumer behavior and respond quickly to the rise of e-commerce. It didn't just sell products online, it created an entire infrastructure around online shopping that allowed it to dominate the retail industry. Amazon's willingness to adapt to the changing market, and even to drive that change itself, allowed it to outperform traditional retailers who were slow to evolve. This principle of adaptability is not limited to business, it extends to personal development as well. Successful individuals understand that in order to continue progressing in their careers, they must constantly evolve. In the world of technology, this is especially true. For example, many of the most successful tech entrepreneurs, such as Elon Musk and Bill Gates, have built their fortunes by embracing new technologies and adapting to the changing landscape of innovation. Musk, for instance, didn't stop at creating one successful company, he ventured into multiple industries. From electric vehicles with Tesla to space exploration with SpaceX, and even artificial intelligence with Neuralink, he is constantly pushing the boundaries of what is possible, and his ability to adapt to new challenges and opportunities has allowed him to remain at the forefront of technological advancement. Similarly, Bill Gates didn't stop with Microsoft. As the tech world evolved, Gates adapted by shifting his focus to philanthropy with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. He recognized that his wealth and influence could be used for a greater purpose and adapted his life's work to align with the changing needs of the world. His ability to pivot from technology mogul to philanthropist is a prime example of how successful individuals embrace change and adapt to new opportunities. This theme of adaptability extends beyond the world of business and technology. Athletes, too, must adapt to stay at the top of their game. One example is the career of tennis legend Serena Williams. Over the years, Williams has continually adapted her training, diet, and playing style to stay competitive in an evolving sport. She didn't rely solely on her natural talent or past victories, she worked tirelessly to stay ahead of her competitors. By continuously reinventing herself, Williams has remained one of the greatest tennis players in history. Similarly, in the world of entertainment, actors who fail to adapt are often left behind. Take the careers of Leonardo DiCaprio and Matt Damon. Both actors started their careers around the same time and achieved success in the 1990s. But DiCaprio's career has continued to evolve as he chooses diverse roles that push his boundaries, while Damon's career has stagnated somewhat because he stuck to the same type of roles for too long. DiCaprio has adapted to changing trends in Hollywood and expanded his repertoire, while Damon has been more selective with his roles, often sticking to familiar territory. DiCaprio's willingness to adapt to new genres and challenges has kept him relevant in an industry that constantly evolves. Even in politics, the ability to adapt is a critical factor in success. Leaders who fail to adjust to shifting political climates risk losing relevance. A perfect example is former U.S. President Barack Obama. Obama's political career was defined by his ability to adapt to the changing landscape of American politics. From his early days as a community organizer to his presidency, Obama understood that political success was not about sticking to rigid ideologies but about meeting the moment with flexibility and insight. His message of hope and change resonated with a nation that was ready for transformation, and his ability to adapt to the needs of the time played a significant role in his political success. The ability to adapt is also crucial in the face of failure. Successful people don't allow setbacks to define them. Instead, they view failure as an opportunity to learn and grow. For example, Steve Jobs' departure from Apple in the 1980s could have been the end of his career. But he used the setback to reinvent himself. After founding Next and acquiring Pixar, Jobs returned to Apple and led the company to become one of the most successful and innovative businesses in the world. His ability to adapt to changing circumstances and use failure as a stepping stone to future success is a hallmark of the kind of mindset that leads to long-term achievement. Ultimately, the strength of ruthless adaptability is what separates the successful from the unsuccessful. It's not just about staying the course when times are good, it's about being able to change direction when circumstances demand it. The most successful individuals and companies are those that embrace change and evolve with it. constantly seeking new opportunities, new technologies, and new strategies to stay ahead of the competition. They don't fear change, they use it to propel themselves forward, adapting at every turn to ensure they remain relevant in an ever-changing world. True power goes beyond wealth. Real power lies in the ability to influence minds, shape cultures, and control systems. In today's interconnected world, influence is the ultimate form of currency. The ability to sway public opinion, dictate narratives, and control the flow of information can give individuals or organizations the power to shape industries, political landscapes, and even entire societies. Money, while essential, is only one piece of the puzzle. The true game changers are those who understand that influence, especially when wielded strategically, can be far more powerful than money alone. Take Elon Musk, for instance. Musk is known not just for his wealth or the companies he has built, but for his ability to control the public conversation. His tweets, for example, can move stock prices, alter the direction of industries, and even stir global debates. Musk has successfully used his personal brand and influence to reshape multiple industries. From electric vehicles with Tesla to space exploration with SpaceX, Musk has not simply built businesses, he has created movements and shaped how millions of people think about the future of technology, sustainability, and space travel. Musk's approach to influence is not passive. He doesn't wait for opportunities to arise, he creates them. His bold, sometimes controversial public statements and actions are calculated to stir up attention and make headlines. He understands the value of media, both traditional and social, and uses it to amplify his message. Musk's influence isn't just about promoting his products, it's about promoting a vision, a future that he believes in, and getting others to buy into that vision. His ability to generate buzz around his ventures, whether it's sending a car into space or building an underground transportation system, demonstrates the power of personal influence. Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, also exemplifies how influence can be used to control markets. Bezos has carefully cultivated Amazon's image as a disruptor, a company that doesn't just sell products but reshapes entire industries. Like Musk, Bezos didn't wait for traditional retail markets to evolve. He saw the potential of e-commerce early on and created the infrastructure to dominate it. But Bezos didn't stop there. He used his influence to expand Amazon's reach far beyond books and into almost every aspect of modern life. From cloud computing to entertainment to grocery delivery, Amazon's influence permeates nearly every industry today. Bezos also understands the power of narrative. His persona, both publicly and within the company, is built around the idea of a visionary leader who is always focused on long-term goals and willing to make bold, disruptive moves. Bezos's influence extends to how people view retail, technology, and even logistics. He has created a brand that represents innovation, convenience, and efficiency, and he has used that brand to dictate the future direction of multiple industries. What makes Bezos's approach particularly powerful is his ability to shape perceptions, not just through traditional media, but through his company's omnipresence in people's lives. Both Musk and Bezos have leveraged their personal influence and control over media to shape how the public views their companies. In many ways, the success of Tesla and Amazon has as much to do with the image these men have created around their businesses as it does with the products themselves. These two billionaires have mastered the art of storytelling, creating compelling narratives about their companies that resonate with consumers, investors, and the media. They have used their public personas to reinforce the idea that their businesses are more than just companies, they are movements. The power of influence is not just about making people believe in a product or service, it's about shaping how people think and how they behave. Musk has shown the world that it's possible to move entire markets with a tweet. His decision to take Tesla private, his comments on cryptocurrency, and his bold predictions about the future of AI all contribute to his ability to control the conversation. He is, in many ways, the modern archetype of someone who has learned to wield influence as a tool for shaping both markets and minds. The ability to control culture is another powerful form of influence. People don't just buy products, they buy into the culture that surrounds those products. Take Apple, for example. Steve Jobs was a master at creating a culture around Apple that people wanted to be a part of. Apple was not just a technology company, it was a movement that represented innovation, simplicity, and sophistication. Apple's ability to create a sense of exclusivity and a lifestyle around its products was a direct result of the company's control over its brand and culture. Apple's dominance in the tech world is not just because it makes high-quality products. It's because it has built a culture that people are eager to be a part of. The same can be said for other powerful brands like Nike. Nike has not just sold shoes, it has sold the idea of overcoming obstacles and achieving greatness. The company's "Just Do It" slogan has become a rallying cry for athletes and non-athletes alike. Nike has shaped how people view fitness, success, and personal achievement. By aligning itself with athletes and cultural movements, Nike has managed to create an identity that resonates with millions of people. This is the power of culture, a power that goes beyond product and extends into people's lives, influencing their decisions, their behavior, and even their values. But controlling culture and shaping narratives is not limited to consumer brands. In politics, influence and control over culture can be even more powerful. Consider the example of former U.S. President Barack Obama. Obama didn't just win the presidency through traditional campaigning, he understood the importance of shaping a cultural narrative. His 2008 campaign capitalized on the power of social media, grassroots organizing, and the concept of change. Obama's campaign was not just about policies, it was about inspiring a movement. He understood that to win, he had to control the narrative around his campaign and project a message of hope and transformation. His ability to tap into the cultural zeitgeist played a crucial role in his success. Influence and control also extend to the media. The media, whether it's through traditional outlets like television and print or modern platforms like social media, is one of the most powerful tools for shaping public opinion. In today's world, the ability to control the media, whether through direct ownership or by using it strategically, gives individuals or organizations the power to influence how people think and what they believe. This is why many of the world's most successful individuals, whether in business, entertainment, or politics, are also media savvy. They understand that in order to succeed, they must control the narrative. And the best way to do that is by controlling the flow of information. Elon Musk, again, serves as a prime example of this. Musk has mastered the art of using social media to control the narrative around his ventures. His Twitter account, for example, has become a tool for announcing new initiatives, engaging with fans and critics alike, and shaping public opinion about his companies. Musk's ability to control the conversation on social media has played a key role in his ability to build and sustain the immense public interest in Tesla and SpaceX. He doesn't rely on traditional media outlets to tell his story, he tells it himself, directly to millions of people. In conclusion, the true power of influence and control lies not in wealth alone, but in the ability to shape minds, manipulate narratives, and control the flow of information. The most successful individuals in the world, whether it's Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Steve Jobs, or Barack Obama, understand that success is not just about creating great products or making great decisions, it's about creating and controlling the narrative around those decisions. They have mastered the art of influence, using it to drive change, shape culture, and dominate markets. The ability to influence and control is the ultimate form of power. And those who understand how to wield it are the ones who rise to the top. Success, especially the kind that involves absolute power, often comes with a dark side, a price that many people are unwilling to acknowledge. The pursuit of success can be intoxicating, a drive that pushes individuals to achieve extraordinary feats. However, those who reach the pinnacle of power and influence often do so at the expense of their personal lives, their relationships, and sometimes even their own morality. The sacrifices made in the pursuit of success are not always visible to the public eye, but they are real and profound. In many cases, the cost of success is paid in the currency of personal loss and ethical compromise. One of the most striking examples of this dark side of success is Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple. Jobs was a visionary, a leader who transformed the tech industry and reshaped the way we interact with technology. His leadership was instrumental in the creation of revolutionary products like the iPhone, iPad, and MacBook. These innovations cemented his legacy as one of the most influential figures in modern history. Yet, Jobs' success came with significant personal sacrifices, and his leadership style was often described as both brilliant and brutal. Jobs was known for his intense focus and relentless pursuit of perfection. His demanding leadership style, combined with his uncompromising vision, made Apple a company synonymous with innovation and quality. However, this same intensity often led to conflicts with employees, colleagues, and even his family. Jobs was not known for being easy to work with. He could be mercilessly critical of his team, pushing them to their limits to achieve what he envisioned. His approach was often characterized as abrasive, with little regard for the personal toll it took on those around him. Many employees at Apple described working under Jobs as both a privilege and a trial, a dynamic that speaks to the cost of success in the high-stakes world of Silicon Valley. Jobs' leadership style, while effective in pushing Apple to the forefront of the tech industry, led to strained relationships. He was estranged from his daughter for many years and often struggled to balance his professional and personal life. His intense focus on work left little room for anything else, and he sacrificed his own emotional well-being and family connections in pursuit of his vision. This personal cost, while not always visible in the public eye, is a stark reminder that success, especially on the scale that Jobs achieved, comes at a heavy personal price. While Jobs' leadership at Apple led to unprecedented levels of innovation, it also sparked debates about the ethical implications of his methods. Jobs' perfectionism sometimes led to decisions that were seen as morally questionable. For instance, Apple's labor practices, especially in the early days of its rise to power, have been the subject of intense scrutiny. The company's reliance on factories in developing countries, where workers were subjected to harsh conditions and low wages, is an example of how the pursuit of success can sometimes blind leaders to the ethical implications of their actions. Jobs, in his relentless drive for innovation and market dominance, often seemed indifferent to the human cost of Apple's success. The company's business model, while incredibly successful, was built on the exploitation of workers in low-cost labor markets, raising questions about the morality of building an empire at the expense of others. This tension between success and ethics is not unique to Jobs or Apple. Many of the most successful individuals and companies in history have faced similar moral dilemmas. In the world of business, politics, and entertainment, success often requires sacrifices that go beyond time and energy. It requires a willingness to compromise on personal values, to turn a blind eye to ethical concerns, and sometimes, to step on others in order to climb higher. Consider the example of the financial industry during the 2008 global financial crisis. Many of the executives responsible for the collapse of major banks and the resulting economic meltdown were incredibly successful individuals. They made billions in profits and accumulated vast amounts of power and influence. However, their success came at the expense of millions of people who lost their homes, their jobs, and their savings. The financial collapse was a result of a system that prioritized short-term profit over long-term stability and ethical responsibility. The executives involved were willing to take enormous risks, gamble with the livelihoods of others, and turn a blind eye to the consequences of their actions, all in the name of success. The financial crisis serves as a potent reminder that success, especially when it is driven by a desire for absolute power or profit, can have devastating consequences. The people who orchestrated the collapse may have walked away with their wealth and power intact, but they left behind a trail of destruction. The ethical compromises made in pursuit of success can have far-reaching effects, and in many cases, the consequences are borne by those who are least able to protect themselves. Similarly, the entertainment industry is rife with stories of success that come at a personal or ethical cost. Take the case of Harvey Weinstein, a once powerful Hollywood producer whose career came crashing down after allegations of sexual harassment and assault. Weinstein was a dominant figure in the film industry, wielding enormous influence over which films got made and who got cast. However, his success was built on a culture of exploitation and abuse. For years, Weinstein used his power to manipulate and intimidate young women, demanding sexual favors in exchange for career opportunities. His rise to power was fueled by a toxic environment where ethics were sacrificed for success and where the cost of advancement was often the personal dignity of others. Weinstein's fall from grace is a stark reminder of how the pursuit of success, especially when it is fueled by unchecked power, can lead to moral decay and ruin. His actions, while driven by a desire for control and influence, ultimately destroyed not only his own career but also the lives of many individuals who suffered as a result of his abuse of power. Weinstein's story illustrates how success, when built on a foundation of exploitation and unethical behavior, is ultimately hollow and unsustainable. These examples underscore a central truth: the price of success can be extraordinarily high. Whether it's sacrificing personal relationships, compromising ethical values, or contributing to systemic harm, those who achieve the highest levels of success often do so by making choices that come with consequences. The higher the stakes, the greater the cost, and for those who seek absolute power, the sacrifices become even more significant. However, it is important to recognize that not all successful people sacrifice their moral compass or personal lives in the pursuit of their goals. There are many examples of individuals who have achieved great success while maintaining a strong ethical foundation and healthy personal relationships. These individuals have found ways to balance their ambition with their values, proving that it is possible to succeed without compromising one's integrity or personal well-being. For instance, consider the example of Warren Buffett, one of the wealthiest investors in the world. Buffett has built his fortune through a combination of smart investments, a long-term approach, and a commitment to ethical business practices. He is known for his integrity and for maintaining a low-key lifestyle. Despite his immense wealth, Buffett has consistently emphasized the importance of honesty, trust, and transparency in business, and he has used his influence to advocate for a more ethical approach to investing and corporate governance. Unlike many of his peers in the financial world, Buffett has managed to achieve great success without resorting to unethical practices or sacrificing his personal life. In contrast to the ruthless tactics of people like Steve Jobs or the destructive behavior of figures like Harvey Weinstein, Buffett's example shows that success does not always require sacrificing one's values or personal life. While Buffett has undoubtedly faced challenges and made tough decisions throughout his career, he has done so while maintaining a strong sense of moral responsibility. His success is a testament to the idea that it is possible to achieve greatness without losing one's humanity. In the end, the dark side of success is a reality that many people overlook or choose to ignore. The price of achieving the highest levels of power and influence often comes with significant personal and ethical costs. Whether it's sacrificing relationships, turning a blind eye to exploitation, or compromising one's integrity, success at all costs often leads to devastating consequences. The stories of Steve Jobs, Harvey Weinstein, and the financial industry during the 2008 crisis serve as cautionary tales of the dangers of pursuing success without regard for the human cost. However, there are also examples of individuals who have managed to succeed without sacrificing their ethics or personal lives, proving that it is possible to find balance and achieve greatness without losing one's soul in the process. The reality of success is harsh, and the world operates in a way that is often uncomfortable for most to accept. It doesn't revolve around fairness or the ideal of a level playing field. Instead, the world rewards power, influence, and adaptability. These are the fundamental elements that separate the winners from the losers, the dominant from the dominated. People may often claim that they wish the world were more just, that hard work would lead to success without the need for manipulation or power plays. But the truth is that the world doesn't care about fairness, it cares about who has the strength to push through, adapt to the changes around them, and use their power effectively. We all face choices in life. At every moment, we are presented with an opportunity: adapt or get left behind. Those who are unwilling or unable to face the reality of the world's nature often find themselves stuck in a perpetual cycle of mediocrity, frustration, and failure. These are the individuals who hope for a world of fairness, believing that the system will reward them simply for being good. Yet, as history has shown time and time again, the system often rewards those who are ruthless, strategic, and willing to adapt to the ever-changing environment around them. When we look at figures like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, we see the embodiment of adaptability and power. Both have risen to the top not by following traditional paths, but by constantly evolving, embracing change, and shaping the world around them. They saw opportunities where others saw obstacles, and instead of waiting for the world to give them something, they took it, Musk didn't just build a car company, he created a movement that reshaped the way the world thinks about sustainability in electric vehicles. Bezos didn't simply enter the e-commerce space, he redefined how we buy, sell, and consume everything, from books to electronics to cloud computing. These men didn't wait for life to present them with opportunities. They made their own opportunities, and in doing so, they shaped entire industries. They didn't get to where they are by hoping things would turn out well based on effort alone. They didn't cling to outdated ideas or give up in the face of challenges. They constantly reinvented themselves and their companies to stay ahead of the curve. It's this adaptability, this relentless push to evolve with the times, that allowed them to rise above the rest. Yet, for many, the concept of constant change and adaptation is overwhelming. People often resist change because it's uncomfortable, because it forces them to let go of old beliefs, old ways of thinking, and old habits. People are afraid of failure, of falling short of their expectations, and of facing the harsh truth that they may not have what it takes to succeed. But the key to thriving in this world is embracing that discomfort, learning to adapt, and accepting that failure is not the end, it is simply a stepping stone toward greater success. Think of how we view technology. For example, the tech world is one of the most rapidly changing industries in the world. And those who fail to adapt to new technologies and trends quickly become irrelevant. Consider Kodak, the once dominant force in the photography industry. Kodak invented the digital camera but refused to embrace it, relying on its film-based model for far too long. By the time the company recognized the need to adapt, it was too late. Companies like Canon, Sony, and Nikon had already seized the digital market, and Kodak found itself outpaced, overtaken, and ultimately irrelevant. Kodak's failure was not due to a lack of effort, it was because the company failed to embrace change and adapt to the future. Now consider Apple, a company that has revolutionized multiple industries. From computers to smartphones to music, Apple succeeded, in large part, because of its willingness to adapt to changing technologies and consumer demands. Steve Jobs, like Musk and Bezos, understood that success wasn't just about sticking to a formula, it was about constantly evolving, rethinking what's possible, and creating products that shaped the future. Jobs' legacy is not just in the products Apple made but in how the company approached innovation. The company didn't just release incremental upgrades, it changed the game every time, setting trends rather than following them. In the same way, individuals in every walk of life are forced to adapt or risk being left behind. Whether it's a CEO at the helm of a company, an athlete trying to maintain peak performance, or a worker trying to advance in their career, the choice to evolve or remain stagnant is ever present. We can choose to face the reality of the world, acknowledge that success requires both effort and adaptability, or we can continue to hope for a world where fairness and good intentions will carry us to the top. The truth is that the world does not owe us anything. We are not guaranteed success simply because we work hard, or because we are good people. The only guarantee in this world is that the strong, the adaptable, and the strategic will rise to the top, while those who cling to old ways and refuse to change will be left behind. Consider the rise of social media influencers, many of whom have built massive followings and turned those followings into lucrative businesses. These individuals didn't wait for traditional industries or corporations to open doors for them. They created their own platforms and used those platforms to connect with millions of people. They adapted to the rapid changes in technology, from YouTube to Instagram to TikTok, and they built their success on the ability to adapt to new technologies and new ways of connecting with their audience. The most successful influencers didn't simply stick with what worked in the past, they evolved and shifted with the times. The same applies to careers and personal growth. Many people find themselves stuck in jobs or roles that don't fulfill them. But they resist change because it's uncomfortable or they fear failure. The choice to stay in a familiar but unsatisfying situation or to take a risk and adapt to new opportunities is a choice many people face. Those who succeed in life are the ones who are willing to embrace that discomfort, take calculated risks, and trust in their ability to adapt. It's easy to stay in a comfortable, familiar place, but growth only comes when we step outside our comfort zones and embrace new challenges. And yet, it's important to note that adaptation isn't just about career or financial success, it's also about personal growth. The world around us is constantly changing. and the ability to adapt to changes in relationships, in personal beliefs, and in societal norms is critical to maintaining a healthy and fulfilling life. Personal growth requires flexibility, the ability to learn from experiences, to change when necessary, and to grow in response to challenges. The choice to adapt in a positive way, to become more compassionate, understanding, and self-aware, is just as important as adapting in the professional or financial sense. Ultimately, the choice is ours. We can choose to accept the reality of the world and rise to the top. Or we can choose to ignore the facts and resign ourselves to mediocrity. The world does not care if we are good or fair. It cares about who has the power to adapt, innovate, and dominate. Success doesn't come from waiting for the world to change for us, it comes from changing with the world and using that change to our advantage. Whether we are in business, politics, entertainment, or our personal lives, the world will continue to evolve. And the only question that remains is, will you evolve with it? Or will you be left behind? The choice is yours. What an eye-opener, right? After hearing all this, it's hard to deny that success is not just about being good or fair, it's about power, adaptability, and the ability to make things happen, no matter what. So now, I want you to reflect. What will you do with this knowledge? Will you sit back and hope for fairness to find you? Or will you rise and take control of your own destiny? If this video has sparked something in you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because we'll be diving even deeper into these topics, and you won't want to miss what's coming next. Plus, if you found this video valuable, consider leaving a super thanks to show your support. Every bit helps us keep delivering high-quality, insightful content that can change the way you think and live. Remember, the choice is always yours. Adapt, evolve, and thrive, or stay stagnant and get left behind. It's up to you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.